Oh no, guess who's back? It's the West Coast Diva. I helped put it on the map. It's yo, yo. Act like you know. They couldn't do it now. Back up in the studio with my boy from long time giving me love, Lee
Hey, this is
Billie.
Tommy Davidson. You're watching EURweb.
What was it like revisiting the 90s today in the way that you did?
I was good, man. I hadn't actually taken a look at that period in time because that was my foundation. That's where I started. That's where I became a star in the 90s. And it happened so fast. Started out on doing stand-up, then ended up doing TV, ended up doing movies. I think that my favorite thing about the 90s was that all of the people all the actors and actresses that I worked around, and we worked around town, and we worked in the same community, we all saw each other, you know what I mean? And we all, still talked and had dialogue and stuff like that. And, competition didn't influence our relationships. There was no separation between, our relationships. We're all friends.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's the one thing I do miss, is, what Hollywood has a tendency of doing is creating competition, and so that's what I miss. I miss all of us being like, yo, what's up, man?
Yes.
Seeing everybody like, what's up? Not the whole, hey, what's up, man? Hey, so you all right? I'm all right. Hey. But that same, like, genuine, like, what's up, man? Like, I don't want nothing from you. You don't want nothing from me. We all trying to just get it on.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's your time travel been like from the 90s till today? You could tell me some of your highlights.
I think one of my highlights is I think I got to stay myself. Like, I'm like, woo. I made it through all of that, and I'm still Tommy, Barbara Davidson's youngest son. I like the fact that I've become the person that I'm meant to become. I think one of the things that's inspired me, energized me in my life, is realizing, the Afrocentric foundation of history that I didn't know. So I think that what that's done is it's just brightened my path, because as an African American or a person of African descent, we're told that we come from nowhere. When I found out we are the beginning, I was like, whoa, man, it was like a light on my face. It was like this bright light just shining. You know what I mean? I mean, we're just human beings. I mean, we're not going to do any better with it than anybody else is. People still got to love each other.
Yeah.
But it was just good to know. And it's some knowledge that really woke me up.
Right on.
Oh, yeah.
Right on.
If I could relive one pop culture moment of the 90s, it would be in living color. In the 90s, I think, and Puppy tried to tell me. Puppy said, yo, because I went for, a high top fade. High top fade, short on the sides, box on the top. He asked me to cut my peak off. And I was like, nah, I ain't going to cut my peak off. Like, wait a second. How did I turn into hip-hop Eddie Munster? I don't know. But Pup tried to tell me.
Women condition. Thanks for watching EURweb.
What's it like being here today and revisiting the 90s?
Well, first of all, it's a blessing. I'm glad that TV One put this event together. It's well overdue because there's so many talented artists that we respect. And when you think about music then and music now, it is the time. Now is the time. So I'm enjoying it. I'm glad to be a part of it. 90s was my big release. I was on the road for pretty much the 90s. I would say the 90s was all about, for me, being free. Because I was just a young girl out of high school, and it was just about my freedom. I was just really understanding life and just living, and I guess the 90s for me was being free. It was almost like the 70s for most people, but the 90s were the 70s for me. I was able to just understand who I was, and I didn't know how much power I had then, so I was just free to do, and I did.
Okay, so then what's your time travel been like from the 90s? You can tell me about highlights from your life, either in your career or even in your personal life.
From the 90s, some of my highlights have been, I remember they had this big old feud with the East and West, where the West wasn't accepted on the East Coast, and no one had really performed big on the East Coast, and here I was a part of Ice Cube's camp at that time. He had just left NWA. NWA had once been booed from New York. Here we had created this big thing. Cube had just brought me to New York, got me a big deal with Sylvia Rhone on the East Coast. He signed this big production deal with them. We were headed to the East Coast to do a show at Apollo, which Apollo was known for booing. I mean, even more so then than it is now. now it's more cliche than it was back then. It was really major if you got booed. We were really afraid to go. But they hyped this show up so major. It was Yo-Yo and Ice Cube, and everybody just had this fear. Cube just avoided everything that everybody had to say about not going, not doing the show. We just went and did the show. It was the biggest show. Cube came out as the male-dominating man that he was in his music, with a bat in his hand, singing "It's a Man's World," and here I was from the other side of the stage. But it wouldn't be a damn thing without a woman's touch. And it was just, they threw money on the stage. I was so excited. If I was a rock star, I'd have jumped in the crowd. But I don't think hip hop would have caught you that back then. But it was beautiful, and that's one of my most memorable times. I love New York for that. A lot of people think I'm from New York because they accepted us so much. I get so much love on the East Coast, and I think the 90s did that. It merged hip hop. It allowed other states to feel like they were a part of something that the East Coast feel like they created. Because when I started, we had journalists asking us if I had Lee Bailey asking me if hip hop was here to stay. And I wasn't for sure, but I said yes. Although I still don't believe in censorship, I just think that we need to do more controlling of our music, and music has to grow. That we should really take responsibility and be more responsible of it, because there is a lot of ignorant. But I just think that right now we're just in that state where babies are raising babies, and nobody's really being responsible. Nobody's taking the responsibility, you know. And here I am, a legend. And I'm wrong if I criticize it, because who am I? I wrote Bonnie and Clyde, and all, you know. But I didn't know better. Now I know better. So
later on, these kids will be the ones doing the criticizing.
Well, hopefully they let legends be legends in hip hop, like they do in other genres of music, and they showcase and platform those artists that can tell their testimony, and so that people can not make the same mistakes that these other artists make, and to see that music is movement, music has power, and words matter. And so when they realize that, then maybe we can. But until you talk to those back then, can you help those of now?
Exactly.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tony, and you're watching EUR Entertainment.
All right. Okay, so what's it like, guys, being here today and revisiting the 90s?
Oh, it's been wonderful.
We never left the 90s. You talking about revisiting? But I mean, you know, it's great to have come on the show and then run into a lot of people that we've, you know, we grew up with in the industry, such as Yo-Yo. You know, I mean, that was a treat for me. I ain't gonna even front. You know what it is. Anyway, it was great to be on the stage with the host, which was Chris, and we have a lot of precious memories along the road. So like, it was just an honor to be, and you know, TV One brought it. You know what I mean? Just to even, you know, pay our little era some.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
right.
humbled by that.
That's
Truth.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So what are your guys' some of your favorite things? And this could be food, it could be television, music, anything or events, things to do from the 90s.
Whoa. Roller skating for me. You know, believe it or not, I'm hot. I'm on skates, I roll. But there's things like that for me. You know what I mean? What about for you, Tim? Is there any hobby that you ever had in your life?
Bungee jumping.
Really?
Bungee jumping from the 90s?
Don't even go there.
Oh, he's clowning.
You were the first
He
one.
means jump rope with a bungee.
Okay, all right.
That's it, bungee jumping.
I would have to say 90s, you know, going to parties and things back in the day.
Yeah, you could go to a house party. Right?
Yeah.
That's right. That
You know
blue
what I mean?
light, that red light.
Blue light,
You know what's
yeah.
a cold piece? People don't slow dance no more.
Uh-oh.
Something wrong.
Mm-hmm. We were grinding back then.
You know,
You could get
cold
your grind on.
Please.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they do now, but it's just faster.
Okay, so let me do the time travel. Tell me, what are some of your highlights? And this could be even in your careers or even in your personal lives from the 90s till today. The highlights of your lives.
Ooh. International tour. One thing I'd have to say about the industry today is that kids getting back into jazz, kids getting back into the fundamentals of music is going to really preserve, you know, what was done in the past. I'm glad to have, you know, had something to do with what they so-called neo soul, whatever, which is real soul.
That's right.